Hello, so today we're going to cover the basics of how to use Oxford Politics Trove and how to get the best out of some of the features that you can use as a subscriber. So I'm going to assume that you have never logged on to Oxford Politics Trove before. We do have a mix of students, so you may be in your first year, you may be in your second or third year, and you may be a master's student, but I will assume no prior knowledge for today's session. So I'll show you how to access the platform, how to find some of the books that will be relevant for your study, and how to do more sophisticated searches when you do come to doing your own research, and then how to customize Politics Trove to make it relevant to you. So let's start from the very beginning. Your university has bought access to Politics Trove for you. So whenever you're connected to your university network or via the library platform, you will be able to access the Politics Trove, and that is also applicable if you are working remotely. You don't have to be on the university campus to be able to do this. So the easiest way to access it, if you don't go via your library catalogue, is to go onto your usual web browser and type in oxfordpoliticstrove.com. It is worth bookmarking this as well, just so that you do have access to it quicker than typing it in every time, and it will bring you to this homepage here. So this is the Politics Trove homepage, and to make sure that you can access all of the relevant content, look here in this box and you should see your university logo, and it should say automatically signed in. If you don't see that, if you just click here on the drop down arrow and go to sign in via your institution, it will take you to a list of all the universities. You can either scroll down the list, or it's quicker just to use this search box here, find your university and click on it, and it will redirect you back to the homepage, and you should then be signed in. So the next point is to have a look at some of the content that is available to you. But first, it's just worth me saying what Oxford Politics Trove is. So it's a collection of around 55 politics and international relations textbooks, which you can use to support you in your degree. There are coverage of a number of different subject areas within the field. So let's have a look at how to access those now. So if you click here, the easiest way to do it is to go show all books in my subscription, and that will bring you a whole list of all of the books that you do have available to you. I don't think this is the most sophisticated way to look through the content, because it is just a list in alphabetical order of all the books, so it can be a bit overwhelming the first time you access them. So it's better actually to use the subject boxes down the left hand side here, or you can also find it at the top. All of the books are categorized into the relevant subject areas. I'm going to start with international relations, because obviously that's something that's quite broad, and most of you will be covering this from the very start of your degree. So if you click in via the subject, just default back to book rather than chapter, so that it is more relevant. And you'll see here all of the different books that you have available to you. If there is something specific you're looking for, obviously you can use this search box at the top to search by author name or the title of the book or a keyword that you want to look for. But if you did just want to scroll down and see what's available to you to start with, you'll see a number of different textbooks. The one I'm going to point out today is Baylis, Globalization of World Politics. This is very widely recommended across the curriculum. So you probably will have some reference to this in your module handbooks that have come from your academics. They will pinpoint you to a number of different things they want you to read. And if they're really organised, they might have even done a link direct from your module handbook into Politics Trove. If not, we do recommend starting with this one because it does have a lot of coverage that will be relevant to you. Obviously, this was only published at the start of this year, so there's coverage of COVID-19 and a number of different subjects which will be of particular interest. So you can click in and then you can read through the sections and the chapters just like in a regular ebook. Scroll through and you've got a number of different glossary terms, and there are multiple choice questions in here. There are images which you can click into and make bigger. There is a number of videos to have a look at as well. So you can read through this in your own time, as you can with each book that we do have available. If you scroll right down to the bottom of each chapter, there are a number of questions which you can use to kind of think about what you've just read and form your own conclusions, critically analyse what it is that you've read and just get those discussions going. And it's useful for seminars and that kind of thing. And then as well as that, we do have a number of online resources outside of Politics Trove, which you can access by clicking here. Again, that's things like testing yourself questions and some simulations as well for scenarios that you might find yourself facing when you're looking further into international relations. So that's the ebook itself. As I say, you can scroll through all of these titles yourself and see what it is that's available. The more you have a look, the more familiar it will be to actually do this. But when you come to thinking about writing some of your essays and getting towards your assignments, you're probably going to want to do more of a specific focus on what's been set for you or on a particular subject area that you are interested in. And as I mentioned before, you can do that using the search functionality that we do have. It's quite sophisticated. I'm just going to clear off these filters that I've used already so that it will search across the whole of Politics Trove for these terms. So if you wanted to look, for example, at COVID-19, you could do that and it will bring up every chapter in Politics Trove across all of our books that mentions COVID-19. So you will have the most up-to-date content. But then you might want to filter that down to look at something in particular. So let's go for climate change and just see what that brings up. So now what that will do is filter the results down again, and it will cover every single chapter that looks at both of these terms. So you can keep adding as many terms as you want, and it will bring you up a very nicely filtered list of key readings that you might find relevant. So obviously then you can click into those chapters and you'll know that there'll be content that will cover exactly what it is that you're looking for. When you've done these searches, you probably aren't going to have time to read through, 50 or so chapters in one go. So you might want to save this search for a later date. And the way to do that is using this search icon here, the save button here, and it will save it into what we call your personal profile. It's very easy to set this up. If you just click on it for the first time in the top right-hand corner, go to create personal profile, and then there's just a few fields for you to fill in. We do recommend using your university email address just so that it keeps all your uni work together and you're not getting it mixed up with any personal emails. So fill those terms in, make yourself a profile, and then I'll just show you here what that will look like by signing into my own. Sign in here, and then you'll see your name appear in the top right-hand corner. Do stay signed in because then it means you can keep using the features of the personal profile. But you've got your search here, so you just click this save button. Write yourself a note as to why you've saved that. So useful for essay. Press save, and then it will save it into your personal profile here under saved searches, and it just means then you can click on that and it will bring you back to these relevant chapters each time rather than you have to save those. So let's say, for example, you've chose this chapter to have a look at and you think this one is going to be most relevant. Again, you can save that into your personal profile and that will appear under saved content, and then you can scroll through the chapter and see if there are any sections that you want to quote from for your assignments or anything in there that will be useful. Anything that you do decide you want to reference and quote from in your own work obviously has to be properly referenced. To do that, there's a really easy way to do it on Politics Trove. If you just highlight the section of text that you're going to reference, click annotate, it'll bring up this box here. Again, write yourself a note. Just put useful for exam. Write yourself a note as to why you've saved it, and then it will remain highlighted just so it's quite easy to pick out. And then if you go to your personal profile, what you can then do is find the quote. So it's here under saved annotations, and then you go to cite, pick out the style of referencing that's been recommended for you to use by your lecturers. Do check with them first I'm going to go for Harvard for now, and it will put the referencing into Harvard referencing style for you. Referencing is something that students struggle with every year when they're doing it by hand. We do hear this feedback all the time, both from students and from lecturers. So being able to have that done for you is a real big benefit of using the personal profile in Trove. So as I say, we do recommend doing that, and it's really simple to do. You can then copy that into your own work. So benefits of the personal profile then. You can save the searches, as we looked at. You can save chunks of text and annotations, which you can then reference from. And you can also save content as well. So that's any chapter or book that you find useful. So just to show you again with that, if you want to save a chapter, the save icon will always be up here in the top right hand corner. And same goes for a book. If you find a particular book and you think the whole thing you're going to keep coming back to, just use this save icon up here and it will save the whole book into your personal profile as well. So that looks at how to browse the books available for you, how to do searches, and how to use your personal profile, how to do your referencing. There is one other thing on Politics Trove that I would like to show you, because I think it'll be a really useful feature, particularly for those of you who are looking to get higher marks. So your high 2-1s and your firsts. This is a really useful feature, and it's something that is hot on the list of politics and international relations academics at the moment. So the feature that we have is called Critiquing the Canon. The way to search for that is you can either go here to International Relations, and you can default again by book. And then if you just scroll down the list, here it is, Critiquing the Canon. The other way to do it would just be to search Canon in here, and it will bring it up under the search list. I'm going to click into this. Once you've found it, again, it is worth saving it into your personal profile so that you've got quick access to it. And essentially what this piece of writing does, it's something that you'll only find on Politics Trove. It's not available anywhere else. It won't be in your library catalogue, or you won't be able to Google it. It's been written specifically for this platform, and it takes traditional ideas in international relations and theories, and then it encourages students to kind of think beyond them and not just think about the limitations of these ideas. Think outside for wider views. And it just really encourages you to develop your own voice, look at different perspectives in international relations, and something called decolonising the curriculum is something that is a real hot topic. So it does allow you to begin to explore that for yourself. As I say, there's a number of different chapters that have been written in this field. So if you can read them, analyse them, and start to form your own opinions, and then again reference that in your own work, it will get you those higher marks. Again, if you did want to reference anything from this, you can do. Just highlight it, click annotate, leave yourself a note, and then choose the referencing style as you've seen for all the other books. So it's a nice little feature in Politics Trove that you should have a look at when you do have time to do that. So that is pretty much everything that we wanted to show you for Politics Trove. The only other thing I'm going to mention today is if you do get stuck, if you need any help, if you do need to see any of that again, if you go into the customer services section, there are a number of resources that you can use for help. So click here under the help section. We've got user guides specifically for students. There are PDFs that have covered everything I've just mentioned, and there's videos of those as well if you prefer. If you still are struggling, there's an FAQ section that should be able to answer most of your questions. And if you still are struggling, we have the live chat function, so you'll be able to speak to somebody at the other end of Politics Trove, and they'll be able to help you out with whatever your query is. That is operated in usual UK working hours, so hopefully somebody will be able to answer during that time. If anything isn't working as normal, the other thing to do obviously would be to contact your library, and they will get straight in touch with us and we'll be able to sort that out. So just a reminder, obviously your help section is here under customer services should you need any help. Please do that. But that is pretty much everything that I'm going to show you today for Politics Trove. Later in the year, we will be running a revision session where we look at how to use Politics Trove for revising for your exams and getting the best out of the platform for that process. Thank you very much for listening, and good luck with your degree.